welcome to another episode of the Black Guy Who Tips podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
And we're live on a Saturday morning, ready to do some feedback. Find us everywhere you get podcasts. Just search the Black Guy Who Tips. Leave us 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts. The official weapon of the show starts with an F.
Phone jet.
An unofficial sport.
Bullet ball.
And bullet ball extreme. Feedback time. That's where we talk about the things that you said throughout the week. You guys have left us comments on our website, votes in our polls. You guys have left comments on our YouTube. You've emailed us, all kinds of stuff. And we're going to reply to those things today on the show. We did 3 episodes this week, so we're going to get into that. The first thing, though, is we got to talk about the people that did some niceness. Went to our website, and they said, hey, I noticed you guys could use a little money. And we said, thank you for putting some money on it. And they went on the right-hand side and said, I'd like to donate one time, recurring, doesn't matter, any amount. And we give them a shout-out.
May I have your attention? You are now listening to Charlotte's own Rod and Karen. We welcome the good folks who tithe to the Black Guy Who Tips.
Today's a new day.
All right, new charity, new hilarity. Casey F hit us with that donation, that one-time donation. Thank you, Casey. Or Cassie, I'm sorry, Cassie. We got a recurring donation from Michael F. Mary H. recurring. Allison H. The H's are in the building right now. Stefan H. is also with the family. Deborah O. Corey B. Jeff M. or Jeff M. Jonathan H. Michael W. Marvin B. Yes, Marvin B. J4. Early Daisy Photography. Nicole F. Mako W. Oh, Mako changed it. Okay, Mako, I'll see you out here. Asia D. Chriselle B. Annie P. Annie, I hope you're okay. Annie, are you okay? Don G. Tom W. Jr. David from Brooklyn. Michael S. Dana R. And lastly, Julian N. Thank you, everybody that took the time out to put a little something in our pockets. We appreciate you. We got one new 5-star review from from Apple Podcasts. It's from Cheesy Mac, and the title is Preach. Applause, applause, applause to both of you for calling a thing and saying it with your full chest, standing 10 toes down and being unapologetically your true selves. I'll stop here with the quotes. While listening to the latest feedback show, I had a lot of amens. The elite Dem, Screw, Kamala, Joe, and the rest of us, Pelosi, rich celebrities, Obama, etc., set things in motion by abandoning Joe by pulling him out the game with 2 minutes on the clock and now getting a pass. Their entitlement wasn't going to be affected when the ship sank because they had life rafts and a yacht to save them. White leadership fucked things up and want black people to fix it. See U.S. history. As hard as this current state is in our community, the curtain is now pulled back to show how white leadership has historically fucked up a majority of everything, period. The sheep that cap for the maggots feel a kinship to people causing their demise and their brain rot parrots stupidity, and they get what they get. Thank you for the GOAT content. Many blessings and goodness for you both of you and your families. Well, thank you, Cheesy Mac. Only thing is, I will say, I don't know how much of it was, I like, we may disagree a bit. I don't feel like it was the Democratic elite leadership that let America down. I think even with everything you said, the American voters had an obligation and I've never seen a more stark contrast in candidates. There was no reason for people not to vote for Kamala Harris. And I think we can play the blame game on the back end all we want, but I did watch that debate with Biden. It was scary. It did look bad. And I get the panic. I'm not, like, I think we've done too much. Well, not we, but a lot of people have done too much to dismiss that like it's not a big deal.
Right.
It happened, and it was a shocking moment for a lot of people. That being said, Shocking moments happen.
Yes.
And so you got to make a plan after that. The reality of it is, if you weren't willing to sit behind Biden and like support him, even though you knew that debate looked terrible, if you weren't willing to do that, you probably didn't have the heart to support Kamala or anybody else, because at the end of the day, it's about having the heart and the fortitude to not just look at what needs to be perfect, but to say what needs to be done. And I felt like that was a moment where the Democratic voters blinked, because the next best thing should be, okay, so we can't run Biden. Let's get behind a younger black woman who we think is more competent and a better candidate. It should have been easy. Should have been a layup. Should have blown Trump out. It really should. Like, so we can blame Pelosi. You can blame Obama. You can blame, and for the record, none of y'all know what the fuck happened with Pelosi, Obama, even people like, fuck, I forget his name now, but, God, what's the guy who's always in movies with, and he did the like op-ed in the New York Times? Why am I drawing a blank? He was Batman in the not good Batman movies. He played a doctor on TV. Why can't I remember his name? God,
not coming.
I don't want to say the wrong name.
I don't know.
Someone will say it in the
Clooney,
chat.
somebody said?
Yeah, George Clooney.
Okay.
Even George Clooney, I can't blame him. He was scared like the rest of us, and that dude donates and votes Democrat. Like, I just think there's a lot of blame going around, and I think the one thing I would hope we can all agree on is that despite everything that happened, voters should have known. I know you knew, Cheesy Mac. You voted for Kamala. I know me and Karen knew. So what the fuck happened to these other 19 million people that said, I could have voted for this white dude, but I can't vote for her? That it's on them. I'm not taking no blame, and I don't think Pelosi, I don't think these people should take any blame either. They were scrambling to try to figure out a way to reach all these people in a very short amount of time. And I just think it lets Trump off the hook. It lets people that voted for Trump off the hook, and it lets people that stay home off the hook when we start doing this back room, like, it's this person's fault. No, your ass knew. So I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, and also I think for me, I agree. A lot of people, and I understand when things like this happen, people want to look at someone to blame. I get it. And so I understand that part of it, because everybody goes with somebody has to be held accountable. And the people that need to be held accountable the most is the voting populace, which is the people that nobody ever wants to put in their calculations when they're pointing. Because regardless of what the Democrats do, it was the voting populace that made the final decision. Like, at the end of the day, the voting populace is the people that actually decided to go to the polls or not, decided to cast their vote or not. Those are the people that matter. And those are the people that gave a mandate to this country on how they wanted the future of this country to go. And those are the people at the end of the day that needs to be held accountable. Anybody else is a waste of energy. Now, what's done is done. So now the people that voted in office need to be held accountable for what they do. And that also goes back to the voting populace. Will the voting populace hold the people accountable that they voted into office? This is just how politics go. I know people don't want to hear this, blah, yada, 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 but this is how it goes. Numbers matter, statistics matter, and who you vote in office matters. And a lot of people are going to find out that what they voted for were lies. What they voted for was not the truth. And a lot of them will be shocked and surprised. But people like me and Roderick were not shocked and surprised, because I 100% agree with you, Roderick. As far as I'm concerned, I will admit, no, I did not see that debate, and I don't care. But I do understand people's fear and people being scared. But I also, even though I didn't like it, I went along with the plan, okay? I went along with the plan. And I said, okay, y'all scared? Cool. I get it. put up another candidate, I am voting for that candidate too. It should have been that simple, but it was not for whatever reasons. Be it racism, be it misogyny, be it whatever reasons, it was a problem with the voting populace. And at the end of the day, a lot of this boils down to a lot of white people that did not want a black woman to be president. And a lot of this was a backlash to Obama, and a lot of this is wanting white supremacy to reign. And it is just that simple to me. And this is just my opinion. If you tell yourself anything else, you are making excuses, and like Rex said, you are letting people off the hook for their actions.
Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, Cheesy is saying they agree with us, but I like I said, I would not frame the way it happened that way. I don't talk like that. I don't do the Democrat elites and the Obamas and Pelosi. I don't do that. I actually don't have a problem with the Obamas and the Pelosi's. That doesn't mean you can't critique them, but
right.
In general, I think the way that they operate is how I would operate if I was in their position. I think a lot of the things they did was things that I think should have been done. I think the things that they've promoted in this country have made the country a better place. Mm-hmm. And I won't let perfect be the opposite of good. So right. In my opinion, I thought they were good leaders, and I think, you know, the Biden thing threw a lot of people for a loop. But at the end of the day, I felt like everybody in that situation pretty much did the right thing. Like, I even think Biden stepping down was the right thing, because by the time he stepped down, everyone was debating, could he even win or run? Like, so by that time, you just want to take yourself out of the equation. So it's like, no, the party needs to win. Mm-hmm. It's not about me and my ego at this point.
I agree.
Y'all don't agree that I'm the one. So why would I put the country in this bind of, let's spend the next 100 days arguing if I should even be the candidate? That's crazy.
Right.
And so he did the best thing. Named Kamala his successor on the way out. Like, made sure she had the money to spend in the campaign. I don't knock these moves. I don't see these as like things that are so easily dismissed as like, oh, they fucked this one off. I don't think Democrats fucked this off at all. I personally just, maybe it's right, maybe it's don't, maybe it's not, maybe I'm being naive. I personally just don't know that I believe all the rumors of they knew he had a diminished capacity the whole time and they just kept putting him out there. I think people need to believe that kind of shit to justify what happened, but I really don't know that he was so not as good as when he ran 4 years before that. But I don't want to relitigate this and go through the whole thing. Right. I appreciate you writing in.
I thank you too. And also I think for me, when people go back and they look at it, they need to be truthful with themselves in real time, like what actually happened in real time. I understand people are mad. I understand people are upset. And like I said, it's you want to hold somebody accountable. So I completely understand that part and that piece of it.
Let's get to these comments on the website. Episode 3067, The Era of the Bully. Apia says, the German driver's license is hard to get, expensive, and forever. Please keep this information for yourself. I don't understand it. I don't want it to change. Interesting fact, is not used for identification here. I was very surprised in the U.S. how often driver's license is good enough. We have two kinds of valid identification here, the national ID or the passport. The national ID is also good for travel in the EU. I have them both. I had to redo my passport to go to London last year. But I do have to do some driving for my work. Every 3 years or so, I have to do an intense driving safety course. It's a whole day where you practice hardcore stops from a high speed, stop on a wet surface, driving on simulated ice surface, learning the course correct in a dangerous situation. You drive on a touring plate in the road pretty fast and have to stay on course anyway. Or you drive through an area and all of a sudden a ton of water comes down your windshield from a hidden spot on the road. You don't exactly know when, so you are surprised and don't see for a second. It is a special area. We don't just do it in the city. We learn what to do in extreme situations, and it does help. When I first did it, I was afraid to slam the brakes to the maximum, but they make you do it to see that it's pretty safe. It's very good that we do it. It's also, after the day, you are pretty exhausted. Huh, that's interesting. Appius also says, I'm sure non-white people are targeted more as tourists in the U.S. now, but that still does not make me visit more. Oh, yeah. I totally get it. Don't come here. I'm not. I hope you didn't think we're encouraging to come here. I'm just saying my guess is you'd be safer than some of the people they're trying to kick out. Not all of them, but I don't think it's safe here for anybody. It's not safe for me, and I live here. I tend to catastrophic thinking sometimes and would think nonstop about everything that could happen. Maybe the police will read comments I wrote here and put me in a camp to reprogram me. See, catastrophic thinking. I'm sure other Europeans feel similarly. We're not there yet, but maybe. I don't think we're at the government is looking at the blackguywtips.com, trying to get the like comment section and like figure out like who is Appia from Germany, where she really from, and what can we do to get her. So I would say that is very catastrophic thinking. I won't empower your catastrophic thinking by co-signing it. That I think you have your own demons to deal with that. I'm a woman who does advocate for myself at work. I worry, I work a lot. I feel fear sometimes, but I also enjoy my work and don't let others steal my accomplishments. When I'm in a hard situation, I tend to think that I will not find a solution this time, feel bad, anxious, only to find an impressive solution pretty fast. And I talk about the success and I get the raise or the bonus. Yes, I talked in therapy about it often over the multitudes of a person. Cobra X says, that's a damn good thought. Oh, wait. Is this somebody else's response? No. Okay, that's a damn good thought, Rochelle. A book list from Rod and Karen would be dope. I've read quite a few of the books they mentioned on the show. Not one of them were amiss. Amusing Ourselves to Death and The Cruelty is the Point of the last two I read that Rod mentioned. That was some good reading.
I mean, you talking about Rod's book reading collection.
Yeah, I mean, Karen has, I mean, you do audiobooks and you read a lot of like celebrity, like autobiography type books and stuff like that. I mean, honestly, the only reason I'm not really trying to do a book thing is just more work for us. It's just more shit for me to be like, okay, and then read this and then read that. But I don't know if there was an easier way to do it, maybe. But I don't want to put effort into doing it. I just kind of bring up what I'm reading on the show when I find it to be relevant. So yeah, I think right now I'm reading this book called White Negroes. It's about appropriation. I just started it. It seems like a pretty short read because I feel like I just started it yesterday. I'm already at 15% on my Kindle. But it'll come up in as it's germane to what we're talking about.
Right.
Sean says, regarding addictiveness of TikTok, according to a recent research paper in the American Journal of Science, Social Sciences and Humanities, edited from the abstract, 306 participants from a research university in the U.S. who have multiple active social media accounts, over 5 on average, spent on average 3.8 hours of social media daily, while spending on average 3.7 hours on schoolwork daily. Interestingly, female participants spent more time on social media as well as spent more time on schoolwork than their male counterparts. TikTok was the most popular social media platform, followed by Snapchat, Instagram, and others such as X, formerly Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Contrary to popular beliefs, while TikTok favoring students were more likely to perceive that they were vulnerable to compulsive overconsumption, their time on social media per day was not significantly different from any other social media active users, suggesting a discrepancy between student perception and reality. Of interest from the body, the average number of social media accounts held by millennial Gen Z users. Oh God, this is so much. Sean, why?
We don't need articles, baby.
Why, man? Why? I couldn't find many studies that actually broke things down by platform in academic journals. Most focus on social media writ large or TikTok in isolation. It may be that the reality is that TikTok is not more addictive, just feels that way. Sorry, I tried to make this short as I could, but I still ended up long as fuck. Yeah, it did. Then Sean left another comment about ICE committing illegal detentions, deportations. Recently, several tourists, including Jessica Brosch, white German tattoo artist, Lucas Sealife, white German with a husband in the U.S., Becky Burke, white Welsh backpacker, and Jasmine Mooney, white Canadian business consultant, have been abducted, abused, detained, and repatriated after life-altering traumatic abuse at the hands of criminal organization known as ICE. Teaching at a language-focused university, I cannot in good conscience recommend any students travel or study abroad in the U.S. ICE has officially moved past the paper bag test to check whether you are a citizen and are just deporting anyone willy-nilly with no cause, justification, or legal reasoning. They've also acted in criminal and or barely legal manners, but they appear to have gotten significantly worse. Appia says, I checked it out. Those people traveled as tourists to the U.S. through Mexico and had all the right documents. They were still seen as illegal immigrants who wanted to work in the U.S. No thanks. Sean says the Welsh woman had issues with her Canadian paperwork, so she was bounced back to the U.S. ICE illegally chose, without any real legal precedent, to consider this return as a new and for some reason illegal entry to the U.S. They held her in horrendous conditions for around 2 weeks, despite her request to self-deport and go back home. The Canadian woman who had her work visa illegally revoked without notice because the company she worked for used hemp in its beverages. She was then abused for almost 2 weeks before being sent to Canada. In continuation, the one thing I would add is that immigration laws across the world are all kinds of fucked up. I illegally worked in Japan for half a year. The reason was that if I had gotten a company to sponsor my visa, I would have ended up working longer hours in worse conditions for less pay. Instead, I chose to do the ethical thing rather than the legal thing. I ended up getting 4 companies to co-sponsor my visa, which allowed me the freedom to seek better pay and conditions if I wished. In countries like the U.S., where they ask a company to sponsor your visa, you end up getting abused more often than not. The entire immigration infrastructure needs to be rewritten, and ICE can go fuck themselves. All right, cool, because I wasn't caping for ICE or saying you should come to this country. I don't give a fuck about any of this when it comes to if I still stand by what I said, and which is not anything y'all have said that has in my opinion push back against that in a way that would make me change my mind, and I'll just need to see the proof. 4 white people is not going to make me be like they're using ICE to just get at white people. I didn't say 0 fucking white people will ever be caught up by ICE. Like, come on now. Like, there's a lot of long comments to not have elaborated or pushed or changed anything that I said. What I am saying is, my guess is a person that is white coming from one of these countries, like even a Germany or something like that, more than likely the vast fucking majority of them will be fine in America.
Yeah, they will be.
Because they're targeting this shit based off of race also. Mm-hmm. And that is a big fucking thing. And I won't let anybody deny that or gaslight that or try to get into some technical aspects of the shit. I see the brown people they're throwing in fucking cages. I see them putting them on planes and sending them to the country. Some of them never been there from there. So will a white person get caught up in the net when they throw out a net that tries to catch all the browns? Yes, they will catch some white folks. I am not advocating for you to come to this country as a visitor or any of that shit. But I am saying the amount of danger that your privileged whiteness has is less than all the brown people, even brown people who live here and are fucking from here, that are going to probably get swiped up in this shit and kicked the fuck out. So don't confuse that with me saying you are in no danger. If you're in America, you're in some danger, period, no matter who you are. But the idea of like, but it was these 3 white people. Okay, cool. It's a lot more brown people. And that was my fucking point. Sean says about the trans issues comment, when you started reading, I paused and yelled out the message I wanted to type while walking down the street. Then I took a breath and thought, let Rod handle it. I was not disappointed. Michael says, same. Woo, the trans folks are getting too comfortable this episode. It was. I'm not participating in that. Mm-mm. Like, we not doing that here. Mm-mm. Like, I did my best over the time to be like, I understand that the coalition is going to take to build back whatever this is for progressiveness in America. It's going to take dealing with some people you disagree with. Mm-hmm. What I didn't say is this place, the black guy who tips, me, Rod, is the person to do that work. I'm absolutely not.
No, I am not.
I don't. If you want to be bigoted and you just want to disagree, I'm not here to have a fucking debate with you every week on our platform. I'm not helping you spread that bullshit. I've told people many different ways, many different times, many different stories, many situations, exactly how we feel about the inclusiveness, about trans people, about LGBTQ people, about immigration, about a bunch of shit. So why the fuck would I sit up here and be like, well, it's time for our weekly debate on are trans people human or not? Should they have rights? Fuck out of here. And not to mention just, I remember that comment. It's just a lie. Mm-hmm. Well, that's why black people did fucking vote, and we came out in the numbers we came out for fucking Obama and Biden. So no, black people's transphobia didn't cost Democrats the election. Everybody's doing this fucking whatever my biases are is why the Democrats lost bullshit. No, let's just keep shit focused to facts. If you can't prove it with facts, don't write up here with that bullshit. You don't like trans people, that's your burden to bear. That's your bullshit to deal with. Ronan Raphael says the tourist numbers are already down with the largest EU countries, UK and Canada, already updating travel warnings to their citizens for traveling to the US. Interestingly, two big soccer competitions, Club World Cup and the World Cup, are supposed to happen this summer and next year. That would normally attract people from all over the world. I wonder if there'll be an effort to bend the rules so fans traveling in give good PR and administration can use that as a C. If we are so evil, why do we allow African, South Americans and fans from all over the world into the U.S.? Yeah, that's interesting too, because Hitler did something similar with the fucking Olympics. Where it's like, oh no, it's great over here in Germany. I don't even know what y'all talking about. Concentration camps? No, concentrate on these games. And then, of course, you find out that they're doing all kinds of evil, dirty shit. Now, that was a time before the internet. That was a time before social media. Probably harder to hide those abuses and stuff now. And the news is constantly reporting on this shit. But yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do for the World Cup. It could go either way.
Right.
I can see them straight up being like, we actually not allowing people from blank countries in here.
Yep.
Even though they team is here competing in the World Cup.
Don't care how it affect the cities and don't care.
This administration don't seem to have they're so chaotic and bigoted. They don't seem to have a lot of strategy for the PR version of this.
Oh, it's no strategy.
Like, some of the things they're doing are just things that have been widely condemned as just evil and wrong. And they just don't seem to care. Which is what happens when you give somebody like this a majority.
Yes, sir.
That's what happens. They treat it like a mandate. They think they have a mandate and they will operate as so. And they don't care what's legal or not legal, because by the time they declare it and act on it, it might take months for it to work itself out in the court, and the damage is done in many of these cases.
Yes, sir.
But knowing this administration, I wouldn't be surprised if they fumble and the ICE does its thing too. When it comes to the competitions, Mexico alone has a lot of fans that usually travel to support their teams. Can ICE behave after being let loose? I don't think so. Although I do wonder what that looks like. This ICE shit is weird. Is some of this stuff isn't even ICE. Some of it's Homeland Security pretending to be ICE.
Yep.
They're not doing things that are legal or routine. Even for people that feel like, well, Obama deported a lot of people and Biden deported people, not as many as Trump, but they still be deporting people. Your country is going to have an immigration policy. It's just, which one do you want? Do you want a more humane immigration policy, or do you want we're going to fucking put barbed wire in the water immigration policy? No one that's ever going to be in charge of this country is going to have open borders, which is another thing someone had wrote in somewhere to our show to be like, well, the problem is Democrats want open borders. Like, no, they don't. They want an immigration.
And they never have. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, and they had built a compromised immigration with Republicans. Like, it's one of the things about progressive people on the left, people on our side of things, is they do have sometimes, and I hate to say this, but it is true, sometimes I think they do play into the hands of conservatives with the pie in the sky sort of solutions. Meaning, hey, it shouldn't even be borders. I hear what you're saying, but we know that's so unrealistic that is actually never going to happen, and it just makes border security, quote unquote, a Republican issue only. And that's why the Democrats fight so hard to try to show like, no, we do have solutions for border security. We do care about that. And a lot of people on our side go, boo, Democrats, boo, you shouldn't be talking about that. And it's like, that's actually an issue that matters to a lot of people.
Yes, it does.
Across all political spectrums and races. You do need a policy. Hopefully it's more humane. Hopefully we can get to a point where Democrats, because the voters, let me separate. Hopefully we get to a point where Democratic politicians will not have to feel like the only way to have immigration policy is to court conservative voters. What we have right now is that a lot of the Democratic voters, when it comes to vocal people on the Democratic side on the left, when it comes to immigration, their whole thing is just let everybody in. And it's such a non-starter that instead you end up with people being like, well, no, I'm going to be tough on immigration, because they don't want to just say like, okay, I'm going to only pander to the left. I'm going to let everybody in. And then boom, here comes the attack ass. Here comes, which are happened already. But that stuff can be effective. It can be a reason people say, I don't vote Democrat, or I won't vote for this person. Mm-hmm. So it's just, they're fighting a war on both sides. They're fighting disinformation on one side of just, you're letting everybody in. You have an open border policy. And then you have this other side that is like, but you should have an open border policy, and don't, like every case of someone being kicked out of the country is bad. It's like, it's tough for them. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure there's a happy medium, not happy, but I'm sure there's a compromising medium somewhere that people can begrudgingly respect, even if they can't support it. Cause I don't think anyone should none of us feels good about the idea that someone would not be allowed into the country for any reason other than like they're doing something bad. None of us is gonna feel good about like, no, this person can't come in, or it's gonna take this many years for this person to come in, or they need this much money, or this much whatever. I think that is still better than what the fuck we're dealing with this ICE chaos that is just like, go get this brown person, pull them over, abduct them, take them out of the country. Oh, you don't agree with you protesting? Get the fuck out of the country. This shit is way worse, I think, than the Obama shit and then the Biden shit.
I'm 100% agreeing. It's also one of those things where, like you said, we're never going to have no policies, but at the same time, the chaos is the point. And before, not that it was perfect, but you didn't have all this chaos. You didn't have all this recklessness. They talked to other countries. They let them know who was coming. They actually kept motherfucking track of people. Now somebody get caught up in ISIS. You have no ICE. You have no idea. They might as well be fucking put on ice, because they just disappear. The family don't know where they are. The lawyer don't know where they are. Nobody know where the fuck they are. You didn't have that problem before.
Yeah, it's on purpose. But at any rate, but I think this chaos is the point, and the fact that we all go, I don't know what will happen with people coming in for the World Cup is the point for Trump and these guys. We weren't feeling that way under any other president. No. That we were like, if we have the World Cup here, then people will be allowed into the country to support their teams. We don't feel that way anymore. Yes, finally, someone put some respect on my offer. Look up Maritas. I just got off the phone with the president. He says you can retire there on less than $5,000 a month. Name your first grandkid after me. If it's a girl, Rafaela. If it is in Portuguese, you'll live good out there. Won't Kane do it? Play Through the Fire one more good time, my good brother. Play it.
Through the fire.
Why is he always trying to make me do work?
Give you demands and shit.
Autumn VO says, in a way, I can relate to Karen when it comes to self-evaluations. I have a colleague who another woman, by the way. I have a colleague who went out of her way to ask what she had to do to exceed expectations. Every year she asked what was expected of her. Every year she did it, and the goalpost kept moving. She asked her supervisor why. He apologized because the issue was with HR, not him. She eventually left the company and was hired as a VP with another corporation where she probably gets paid better and all that stuff, you know. Maybe they let her exceed expectations over there. Meanwhile, she couldn't get a promotion with our corp. I was discouraged because of her experience. I figured, why should I bother when someone who tried harder than me couldn't get ahead? Not all companies operate this way, but it happens so often it makes employees feel like there's no point in trying to self-advocate.
Yeah. And the thing is, my opinion about it has been swayed a little bit, but it's kind of a mixed feel of emotions, because I do understand what you're saying. Meeting expectations is a good thing, but at the same time, mentally you're going, if I go over them, the fuck meet expectations mean? Like it's like in your mind, it's like, well, if I meet expectations, yeah, I know that is a good thing, but if it's like, for some people, it's like, well, what do I need to do to go over it? And it's like, well, you can't. And it's like, well, then what's the point? Like, in my mind, I know that might not make sense, but like in my mind, I'll go, well, if I can't go over it, why am I trying hard for something that I will never achieve?
I think it's interesting because I don't know how we're arriving back here again, but is this a thing someone said to you? Is this a thing you have experienced? So it's a thing you tell yourself.
Yes.
That stops you from trying.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, I could truly say
so
that. Yes.
It's internal. That's my point. Is I like. You can say it hasn't swayed you. I'm not trying to sway you. I'm only saying what I see happening, which is you stopping you. So you don't actually know. You just think that it might go this way. And you could be correct, but you'll never know for sure because you ain't putting above expectations on there. You're not going above expectations in your job to do stuff. So you'll never know. You're perfectly just staying right at meets expectations. Which is why you feel that the process, which is why you feel that the process is pointless because you're just going to meet expectations anyway. So it's already a formality as opposed to if you were seeking a promotion at this company,
true,
you would probably be trying to surpass your expectations. And if you were trying to surpass your expectations, it would only make sense that when it came time for your evaluation that you would mark, hey, I exceeded my expectations.
Agreed.
And then you would find out what the real truth is, because right now you have a theory and a concept of how your company will operate, but this company has been better than you expected at every single turn in your career. There's no reason for you to expect this company to be like, what the fuck you talking about? You ain't. So you have no reason to say that other than your own internalized anxiety and fear that you've decided is what would happen if you decided to put above expectations when you were going above expectations. So this is all a mental exercise that is kind of fruitless in order to discuss, just because it's not going to ever happen. So it would take you being like, I am going to spend a year and commit to, they said the goal is to do blank. I'm going to do more than blank. And then when it's time to do my evaluation next year for that category, I went above and beyond. And then we're going to discuss it and see.
Yeah.
So it's just, I think people are limiting themselves and then saying it's the company. It could be the company, but even with Autumn didn't have this happen to her. She had it. She heard that someone told her it happened to them, and she said, "Well, then there's no need for me to go above expectations or to advocate for myself."
Right? Because they went down. Why am I doing it?
Meanwhile, and maybe y'all will resent this, or maybe y'all whatever call it. I think it's privilege, it's whatever. Many a man's gotten a raise for not being above expectations, but saying they were, walking in that room expecting to get that money and getting that money. Facts. It's sexism involved for sure.
Yes.
But a lot of the sexism is just inherent privilege that men experience, where they go, I'm working hard, I want my money. Like that. I should be the manager. Motherfucker shouldn't be the manager. We all had a man be a manager. We're like, how this motherfucker get it?
Ain't that the truth?
Because they didn't stop themselves. They didn't go, well, I heard one time. They didn't say that. Evie says the irony of saying Dems should stop talking about trans issues is there are plenty of these super progressors who think Dems should stop talking about black issues and just focus on the white working class. But I bet that person will have a problem with that. But win at all costs, right? Yeah, that's why I find what that person said to be idiotic. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of what the Democratic Party has to deal with. And I would say the vast majority of the detractors of the Democratic Party who propose to be left-leaning people have the same hang-up. And they don't see it. They want their issue, no compromise. Everybody else's issue, fuck them issues. Them ain't my issues. And they don't realize that's how you lose. You can't put a candidate up there who says essentially, man, fuck black people. You can't. They will lose. You can't put somebody up there that says, man, fuck these women. You gonna lose. And the only way they can do that is to court conservative voters. So if they do say something like, hey man, you know what, fuck these women, I don't care about their right to abortion, then they better pick up some motherfucking conservative votes to
make the difference up.
Yeah. So it's just a math problem, and a lot of these people are just in denial about it. And I can always tell it's a red flag to me. And I don't care. I have dear friends who I've had this discussion with, and we're just gonna always disagree, and they're gonna always look at me like I'm strange. I'm gonna always look at them like they're strange. It is a non-starter for me for anyone to ever tell me I, as a fucking black person who has lived in America, studied the history and experienced racism myself, can't compare anything to being black. Suck my dick. I can compare anything I fucking want to. Just because your feeble mind can't go with me on it doesn't mean that I have the issue. The issue is you and your lack of empathy or lack of analytical skill to be like, oh, I can see how those two things are the same or similar without being exactly the same. No, that's just a fucking question on the SAT. Blank is to blank as blank is to blank. This is not I'm not a genius to say this. To be like, oh yeah, I can see how dragging someone behind a pickup truck and killing them because they're gay is very similar to like what happened to Emmett Till. Well, you can't even compare the two. Yes, the fuck I can. Who the fuck are you that you can't see that those two things have some very similar issues in how that went out? You can't see someone losing their life and have empathy in that moment and be like, damn, a lot of this bigotry is related.
Yes!
A lot of this shit is very, very much in the same
and
bed.
if you don't like one group, bitch, you don't like the other groups. A lot of the times.
Like, I don't want to hear. I immediately check out on black people that advocate for black people at the expense of other groups and be like, fuck them groups. Then you're not really for black people. You're not really for me. You're not really for right. You're not really for justice. So just leave me the fuck out of it. Go do your thing by yourself with your people. I don't want to deal with it. Comments on YouTube. Smart Dave says, when it comes to the trans issue in the Democratic Party, I try to reach people by mentioning the more mundane issues facing trans people, like access to healthcare, military service, housing, employment, etc. All most people hear about are the flashy stories like trans and women's sports and women's restrooms. I found most people will at least pause their transphobia when the more mundane issues are discussed. Smart Dave, we do that here. We do that here all the time. When we do LGBTQ news, it's not, as a matter of fact, I'd say it's very rare we talk about trans women in sports. You know, mostly because honestly it's not happening that often and it's not a real concern. It's not really affecting anybody.
Right.
So we don't even talk about that stuff really, but we do talk about stuff like your ID. We just talked about that. People needing to have the gender markers to names show that they matching. Yeah, and how it's actually more confusing than just leaving the fucking marker as it should be.
Right.
So yeah, we talk about that stuff all the time. I think the issue here, and this will come up throughout the rest of the comments, the issue here is I'm not trying to use the black guy who tips as a platform to necessarily convince people or have a conversation with people. These are our beliefs. So it's not how do I get the rest of these people to believe what I believe? You can listen or you cannot listen.
Right.
You can agree, you can disagree. There's people that disagree in every single aspect of this show. There's somebody out here, when they hear us talk politics, they skip past it. When we hear sports or talk movies or talk, Beyonce, there's people that don't like something. Fuck them. Essentially, like you're inclined to disagree, and as long as you keep it respectful and right in, you're fine with that. But like, as far as me playing in the bigotry of these people and being like, well, how can I convince them that trans people are human? I'm not. We're going to operate this podcast in the way that we believe trans people are people like every fucking body else.
Yes, they are.
So we really don't need to like make a display out of like, it's not even really advocacy. It's just, this is wrong. In the same way that when we bring up any other topic, I'm like, this is wrong. That's sometimes it's that simple to me anyway. Rainy114 says, this is where we disagree. I do believe how you spend your dollars aligns with your values. If you add the value to his company you support Musk, you allow him to use that money to work against my interests. I think the same thing about purchasing the music of a known rapist. I won't support known rapists because that doesn't align with my values. In my mind, anything else demonstrates a lack of awareness, laziness, or selfishness. I drove behind a recently purchased Tesla. That person purchased that within the last 3 weeks. Thanks for telling me who you are. Well, good for you, Rainey. May you continue to operate your life that way if that's what makes you happy. Mm-hmm. Personally, I think you left this comment on YouTube, which is owned by Google, who doesn't have DEI, who's anti-DEI and put out statements to that effect. So I don't expect to see you ever comment on our YouTube page again, because now you know and you got to do better. A Classy 1119 says, is it possible to have a black trans woman on your show to talk about their trans experience, then to like build a bridge with the straight black community? 3 question marks. I ask because a lot of black people don't like the comparison between black and trans LGBTQ. And if we hear from a black trans woman point of view, because black people, we always say everybody black unless they are black and LGBT. I hear you, Classy. We have had black trans women on our show before, once again. But I thought about this comment a lot. I thought about this in general. No. And that doesn't mean no, we won't have a black trans woman on our show. That's ridiculous. Of course, we've had black trans women on our show. They'll be back. I'm sure we'll meet more and they'll be on too. Same way we've had gay people on our show. Same way we've had brown people on. Like, we've had all kinds of people on our show.
Right.
That's not the fucking point. If they come here, and I understand there's areas where people do this advocacy. There's areas where people show up and they explain what their experience is like, and those places should exist. And I think to varying degrees of effectiveness, they do exist. The reason I don't want our show to be like that is because I would like people to show up and just like hang out and be themselves. And if you get it and you see their humanity, you do. But I don't want to talk to trans people to be like, what sort of genitals do you have? What, explain sex work to me. Explain, why should you have rights? I actually don't find those conversations to be, I'll put it this way. They might be educational and enlightening to somebody. I do not want to bring those type of conversations to our show. I find them actually to be quite offensive many times when you have a trans person on to be like, explain why we should allow you to exist
or care about you.
Yeah. And I get it. A lot of trans people, that is their advocacy and that's the work they have to do.
Right.
And especially in these ignorant spaces like the Breakfast Club and shit like that, where they're literally going to have a transphobe on the next day talking about you tricking me and I'm going to kill you and shit. Here's the thing I will say. I think the people who left comments last week, both of them do a thing that the empathy in y'all's heart is reaching out for, and I don't blame y'all. It's y'all are going, well, if they listen to the Blackout Tips and they write these comments, they must be people who maybe like can be reached if Rod and Karen communicate to them in a certain way. They will grow on these issues and understand. And you might be right. But what you also, and my guess is, what it will probably just happen is this: we will erode this space with these bad faith conversations with these people who are essentially bigoted in their hearts, but not bold enough to stand in their bigotry and just go 10 toes down. I'm actually never going to see trans people as human people.
Right.
I'm going to always be transphobic. I'm going to always say shit like trans women are trying to trick me and shit like that. And I think in those cases, fuck those people. We don't need them. I don't need their money. I don't need their clicks, their views, their comments, their likes. I don't need anything from those people. If they choose to live about that way, where they can't even for the sake of their own just fucking peace of mind. I'm not asking them to come to my side of things. I'm asking them, I'm just wondering why you can't just be like, I don't understand it, live and let live. It's your freedom. It's not my body. It's not hurting me. It's not changing anything. So no, I don't want to have conversations where I have a trans woman on the show and me and Karen are like, can you explain to people that you're actually not trying to trick them? No, It still is a bad faith discussion that immediately lends itself to, you need to disprove you're a bad person and you need to prove you have the right to exist. I can just tell you and you can either accept it or not accept it.
Agreed.
But I'm telling y'all, from things I've read, conversations I've heard, conversations I've had, conversations that have taken place, all sorts of places you can look up this information. If you truly gave a fuck, you could look this up for yourself. You don't need to hear it on our podcast. All of this shit is out there in the diaspora. So many advocates, so many trans people have spoken for themselves. So many trans women of color have talked about their lives being in danger. We actually have statistics about how in danger being a black trans woman is in America. It's like the most likely person to get killed by violence or whatever. It's crazy. So to say all that, we talked about it on the show. Either people believe or they don't believe. But more than likely they just want to hold on to their bigotry. And that's the part I think y'all are having a hard time coming to grips with. Is like, no, you can talk to them. No, you can't. You really can't. They've heard it all or they don't care to hear it all. Okay. They're not looking for real resources or they wouldn't be coming to our comedy podcast like, can you explain it to me? Motherfucker, you can read a book. How about that? Instead of writing a book to me, you go read a fucking book. You go listen to some podcasters who are trans. Go listen to Marsha's Plate. Go do something like that. Go listen to some non-binary people. Do that. And then stop trying to fucking come over here and be like, can y'all tell me why trans people should have rights? No.
And also, truth be told, I understand people's compassion, but me and Roger been doing this for a very long time. And a lot of times these people are trolls. Some people can't spot trolls, and they're trolls. Like, what's the purpose of coming over here basically derailing everything? That's the whole purpose. That's the whole point. And all of a sudden, the conversation no longer becomes about the topic at hand. It becomes about you.
Yeah, the same way that as a black person, I don't go on podcasts to be like, let me explain to you why as a black person I should be allowed to not be killed by the cops. Maybe your audience needs to hear that. But to me, that says something more about your audience, that they need to hear that shit. Like, what the fuck do you be talking about when people ain't around? Hey, we brought some black people in to be like, hey, is being black tough? It is. Wow. Well, that's news to us, guys. No other way you could have found that out. Thanks for coming by. Bye. Like, nah. But yeah, that being said, I know I'm not upset with y'all. I think those who are leaving comments right now, y'all are looking for a solution.
Yes.
But I think a big part of the what is the word? Not compromise, but there's something you've already seeded is the idea that these people are in good faith. But that one woman who I said I blocked from the channel last week, that's like her third or fourth time writing in about trans people. She ain't gonna get it. Why she like us and want our approval, I'll never fucking know. But what she really wants is a tacit approval of her transphobia. What she really needs is for me, I'd say me specifically in this case, to be like, you know what? It's okay that you don't fuck with trans people. And I'm okay with that. And you still a good person. That's what she really will need from me. And I ain't giving it to her because I think that's bad. Rod, you said it perfectly. This from Sherry. You said it perfectly. Meets expectations not supposed to be a bad rating. Also, it was glaring that so many women hate the process, self included. I do make sure I am very thorough because it can impact you significantly when it comes to bonuses and raises, etc. The issue is that most companies use a bell curve for ratings and most don't disclose this. Basically, 80% of people get meets expectations and 20% is split between does not and exceeds. If you're on a team of 10, some managers can only choose one person that gets exceed, which is dumb. Creating bias and makes employees hate the process more. I advise orgs not to use the bell curve for this reason. I imagine this is the case, but I hope that everyone document their performance to a T. And then I think a comment got cut out because it just says it's not even about ... and it just ends and it doesn't say more.
Okay,
so.
Ran out of character space.
Yeah. Ayona says, in response to the self-evaluation, I have always rated only women have written in about this for the record.
Men don't give a fuck about it.
I'm tired to tell y'all something. I tried to give y'all some free game. I tried to give y'all some game.
Men is like, I don't give a fuck about it.
Yeah, I know people was like, Rod, maybe you're speaking from a place of privilege, and I'm like, that's exactly what I'm telling you. Men feel a place of privilege, and this shit that women are going through is really self-inflicted at this point. Like, no one can stop you from saying I am the shit. I've always rated myself exceed, says Ayana. I always let the burden of proof be on whoever has to agree or disagree with me. When I taught high school English, one of the assistant principals told me that they had never seen anybody write themselves high in every category, and at the end he agreed with me on every category except one. In my current role, I recently had my annual performance review and I rated myself the highest I could in every category, and my boss agreed with me. I still only got the 3% raise that everybody else got, but this puts them on notice that I know I'm great and they know I'm great too. Yes. I truly think that's smart. And I think what your experience was, you will not have people write in to be like, well, I heard what Ayana did and I'm gonna do that too. But if you would have wrote in and said it was terrible and they told me I didn't exceed expectations and I was a terrible employee, they'd be like, see, and that's why I don't do it. It's all internal. It's internally inflicted. At some point you have to be like, I'm gonna go prove this shit. I'm gonna find out if this is really what's gonna happen. Because if not, you're just holding yourself in place. Meeks, who may be another woman. I don't know. Miques, like Shamiqua or something like that. Anyway, Meeks 76 says, what I think Karen is alluding to in the part of the conversation about self-evaluations is that while management will agree that in some cases you are above expectations, they do not usually concede that you are above expectations overall. Is that what you were alluding to, Karen? This is what this person said. I think you were saying. Is that what you were saying?
And like I said, it is a mental thing. And
No. Is that what you were saying? That they will agree that you are above expectations in some areas, but not overall. Is that what you were trying to say? Because this is what they said you were trying to say, and I'm just trying to be clear.
And the thing is, yes, I'm above it. I'm above expectations in some things and meet expectations in other things, and I'm gonna get them meet expectations no matter what.
Overall,
yes.
So that is what you were saying.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's all. I just wanted to understand. Most people who are granted above expectations overall are in line for promotion. After working in HR myself for over 10 years, my frustration with this philosophy is people should be allowed to exceed expectations where they are doing what they do. Why is this important? If you don't allow people to be above expectations where they are, their potential pay increases are not high. Anyhow, I love the show. Well, I hear you, Meeks. I see what you're saying in that if I'm above expectations in some areas and then my overall is just meets expectations, you would prefer that you get above expectations overall. But at the same time, I think looking at the categories, let's go mathematically. If they have 20 categories and you're above expectations in 3, my guess is you're not above expectations overall. It probably would take you being, say, 10 or more to be like, the job I am doing more than the job you told me to do,
right? And
I need to be compensated more than the job I was hired to do, which is, I think, is fair. But once again, I will go back to point 1 about this that I brought up in the first place. If you didn't have self-evaluations at all, it's not like these people would be going into office and advocating for themselves.
No, I know I wouldn't.
This was done as a step by somebody, probably a woman. It was done to promote a non-confrontational way to say, I am doing a good job and I would like to be acknowledged as such. And it sounds like it's not even working, because the real work that would need to be done is a societal effort, especially on the behalf of women, to be like, it's okay to advocate for yourself. And it seems like a lot of women don't really agree that they should, I think they agree on a what do you call it, on like a theoretical level, but when you come down to like this is not just about women, because Karen will sit up here and she will rant and rave about sexism and how women are done dirty,
yes,
and privilege, and
yes,
she will do that in the abstract,
yes,
but
because it ain't me.
But when it comes down to like, okay, now it's your job, you do a lot of work and you're not being recognized for it. It's like, yeah, well, I don't want to make no problem.
Right, I don't want to start no waves.
And that's work that can't be fixed by a self-evaluation form. That's
a me issue. That's an internal issue that I need to work out amongst my own soul salvation.
Eb says, hey, y'all, 21-year HR professional. Love the discussion on self-evaluations as I'm right in the middle of remixing our entire process. One piece of advice to make sure you are set up for success come review time is to be strict during the goal-setting period. Get as specific as you can about what outcomes you're expected to deliver by when. So at the end of the year, there isn't much room for subjectivity. And Rod, you're spot on in the fact that many people view meets expectations as not good or C+. Like, no, the company doesn't need everyone to exceed their goals in order for the company to be successful. And if employees are routinely exceeding goals, maybe the bar is too low. That's facts too. Yeah, I don't think people thought of it that way, but yeah, it's like if I'm exceeding all the expectations, I should be getting paid a whole lot more. It's like, then we fucked up when we listed this job. Like, y'all, we should have said you should be doing twice as much work to hire you. This is crazy. All right, though, let's get to the next episode, but a little music first. Oh, I forgot to do the poll. Do you play that shit? Yes or no? I don't play that shit. 96% of y'all said no, I don't play that shit. 4% say y'all do play that shit. And from what y'all said about these self-evaluations, I'm inclined to believe some of y'all lying. I think y'all play that shit. You should be a lot lower.
A lot lower scores.
Y'all be playing that shit every year.
A lot of y'all is meeting expectations and not exceeding.
Oh, man. All right, let's get to the next episode. 3068, habitual line stepper and fetcher. Appia says, Rod, your good day is probably a great day for others. You get to be yourself and hang out with Queen Karen, do the great podcast. Sounds great to me. Yeah, but, unfortunately, I can't measure my day by what y'all days is like. I got to measure it by my standard of great. So he put me on notice that I couldn't just have a great day for other people. I need to have a great day for me. I get older. I have lots of stress, but I don't get sick anymore. Last time I was sick, December 2023, and it was COVID. I didn't have a cold or sniff or anything else since. My body seems to kill every intruder immediately. How did I do it, and how can I make money off of it? I don't know. I want to know. I trained myself to sleep earlier. I sleep from 2200 to 0600. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, it's military time.
I don't know. Rona Raphael says, I knew that Brother Rod was going to drop my name as soon as he saw the bodyguard service app.
You know that's your lane.
It should tell you a lot that you knew that. And not a lot about me, but a lot about you. Unbeknownst to y'all, I had already checked them out and knew that they ain't got nothing on my Orca Sea security service.
Oh, no!
The OSSS. Test it and trust it. If you fail to pay, we sink your yacht. If your enemy fucking up, we sink their yacht too. They don't got middle names, double the price for background checking. We don't offer security on land yet, but Earth is covered by more water. So holler and get you an orca protection. You deserve it. Nobody fucks with an orca. I need orca music. Felt 5, do your thing. Felt 5, don't do your thing.
No, don't do your thing. No,
don't do your thing. Cause there will be no other reason to ever play the orca protection music than the one time we get it. So please don't do that.
Orcas will fuck your ship up, and
if you making segment music, make it a segment that we would return to.
Yes.
There's no reason to do orca security every week.
No.
Sean says, Amazing Grace played in an organ over the sounds of Well in the Gnashing Teeth. We are here today to honor the young pure soul taken before its time. Great day, Joke Morrow. It sprung onto this earth with a furious setup and pristine delivery. Alas, for all the mastery of time, and the young joke's time was over almost before it begun. Like the naked blonde joke from the Breakfast Club, we will never see it grow into a glorious punchline. Let us take a moment of silence in memory of this young joke. Hope this is being yes-anded in heaven. Amen. Thank you, Sean. Karen killed my joke for no fucking reason.
I'm so sorry.
It's in the banner segment. Why would you do that? Sean says, there may be a lot of people trying to out-top each other on OnlyFans, but beware of those trying to out-bottom each other. They're the really freaky ones. Hey. I may have seen some of those. EVE says,
right?
EVE says,
race to the bottom, apparently.
Yeah. EVE, it's like, what can't fit in here? I'm like, oh, at this point, I don't know.
Right?
EVE says, sounds like RG3 is trying to make a claim for a spot in next year's Coon calendar, but he doesn't stand behind his convictions. He had to stop wanting to be liked by black people. He could be up there with the coon greats like Clarence Thomas and Jason Whitlock. He just has to start doubling down and seek out more white validation and throw in some what about black on black crime conversations on his podcast and maybe tweet about the superiority of his white wife. If he takes his advice, he could get a job in the dump administration and be one of Dump's African Americans. Let's go, RG3. I know you coon do it.
That's hilarious.
That's hilarious, EV. And you're right, though. That I always say, man, don't be one shuffling foot in, one shuffling foot out. Go ahead and be all the way down. You can be there.
Yep. Either tap dance all the way in or tap dance all the way out. Make a choice.
Yeah. Like tap dancing on the line is not help. That's not, everyone don't like you. On YouTube, Alicia says, that's very caring of you, Karen, at the 15-minute, 23-second mark.
What I do.
I'll see if I can find it. Let me see. 15:23. All right. and I don't know if I need. Hopefully y'all can hear this. Go ahead, do your last one.
My last one is am I gonna have to call the police on them USDA people?
Oh yeah, that is very caring of you to call the police on some people.
That is,
just
I'm tired of
doing
them
their
people.
job.
Quit coming to my house.
Michael says all that young rapper wanted was a bigger balloon. Facts. Them Knicks, the scientist says them diamonds going to the outlet. Jinxful says the man drinking water at the water fountain in South Carolina on Cecil Williams, still alive and fighting, has his own civil rights museum in Orangeburg. Oh wait, my bad. Did I just make it political? RG3 history. Yeah, you know what's crazy? Michael Harriet hit me up afterwards. He texted me. That's his uncle.
Wow.
Right?
The world is small.
Right? He said he was going to visit him like when he texted me. That's crazy. I was like, what the fuck? Anyway, but yeah, still alive. So if everybody think racism over in some old long, I love that the photos not in black and white too. Cause a lot of times, and I know it's not a conspiracy, but a lot of times when it's black and white, I think people feel like it's a long time ago.
Yep.
Tanya says RG3 just buy the tap shoes, bruh. Save yourself some time and trouble. Rashad says RG3 history on the Jason Whitlock network. Hilshun says y'all will have a Whataburger in Gastonia soon. They are the best fast food burgers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Jason says, yo, the thing about Whataburger knife robbery situation is the bleeding heart of me feels a little bad for the guy. It sounded like he intended to pay and things just took a sharp turn. CSI music. But seriously, I will say if a 19-year-old Whataburger employee took out some scissors and cut that card up in 24 pieces in front of the whole restaurant like they do on TV, I understand the knife coming out. Haha. Also, we all know the knife card offers more cash back than the Capital One card. When the inevitable Patrick and Brittany Mahomes podcast comes out, we'll see what type of pivot RG3 makes. Also, that'll be the day I never root for another black quarterback. Finally, do you each have a Mount Dracarys for people where their Dracarys on site? I feel like it's more than 4 at this point, but I know Candace Owens is definitely on there for me. Just there's everything she does is pretty trash.
It don't matter what she does.
But I'm sure there's more. Jason Whitlock's on there for sure. I had to think about it. Karen, you know what? Can you try to come up with 4, because I got to use the bathroom real quick.
No
Can you
problem.
come up with 4 people that you would put on your Dracarys on site list?
Ooh.
Don't think about it too long, because I'm going to be in the bathroom. So you got to say something. No dead air.
Oh, no problem.
No pressure.
I know, right? No pressure. I didn't come up with a coontastic list. I do apologize. Oh, Clarence Thomas is definitely on the list. He is on my list. That nigga anti-black, no matter what y'all say. So that so he is definitely on the list. Who is it? Gifted Hands dude. What is that doctor name? 999. I probably y'all know me. I'm probably mixing the people up. Godfather's dude, Ben Carson. Thank you very much. I knew somebody out there could help me. Yeah, he on my list too. It's just some people where I'm like, God damn, you're just a terrible person. It's like, what is wrong with you? I'm trying to think anybody else that is like, when you bring them up, it's like an internal flame that just like goes off. Knowing me, I would probably end up having to hear their names. I know for me, I'm trying to think anybody else. This is harder than I thought. Let me I'm gonna Google black coons and see what's what I get, because this is a lot harder than I thought. Those are the ones that I can think of right now. And some people are bringing up Kanye. Now Tiger is one of them people. He slowly went into Coon Nation. He initially wasn't there, and as time went on, the stripes, the tiger stripes fade away, and they started turning to Coontastic. And so, particularly with him and that Trump woman, you have went all the way to the white side. But he isn't somebody that like makes me mad, because he already said he was Cablinasian type of thing anyway. So he have claimed us anyway. So I don't know about him. And the thing about Kanye is not Sage Steele. Thank you. Sage Steele is definitely on that list. That woman is a lot.
So who you got so far?
I got to Sage Steele. I put Ben Carson on there. I put the Supreme Court Justice on there, Clarence Thomas. I think that's it. Yeah.
So I would say and I realized this while I was in the bathroom. The Dracarys list doesn't have to be black people. It's not a coon list. It's fucking with black people. Candace Owens is on there for me because it's just never anything good whenever it comes out of her mouth. Other people I put on there too, George Zimmerman. He's gone away, but
yeah.
Remember when he was just doing shit? Like,
Yeah.
I'm taking up pain also. Hate black people. Like,
yeah, he's a Jacaris because he just will not. Yeah, he's one.
Yeah.
He will forever be on that list too.
like there's certain people that just, there's never, when I see their name, there's never anything good attached to it. So it's just that I think Zimmerman's on there for sure. Clarence Thomas is on there 100% for sure. Candace Owens is on there for me for sure.
Yeah.
And then, man, that elusive fourth spot, there's so many people that could take it.
Right.
Where it's just like, I see their name, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, and for some people, honestly, y'all, I would literally, once I hear or see their name,
oh, shit.
I would think
Donald
about
Trump. Yeah. Sorry, that was easy.
Oh, yeah.
That was easy. All right, there we go. Let's get to the poll. The poll was, are you watching any March Madness basketball? 37% of our audience is, 63% is not. I've been watching, so it's been pretty good.
Yes.
Pretty good. I also been watching a lot of women's tournament. So I count that as March Madness
more
as
than
well.
men, yes.
And I know people are saying it's not their year, but I still believe in South Carolina, man.
Me
I
too.
still do.
Until proven otherwise, I'm South Carolina every year.
And I know Full Wally be out there doing a lot of tricks with the ball and risking some turnovers and shit, but I don't know, man. They go 12 deep. It's hard not to believe in them. But yeah, it's been a struggle this year. They definitely could run into that UConn buzzsaw again. I get it. But yeah, I still believe in them till proven otherwise.
Yeah, same.
Last episode is 3069. Nice. Cotton picking mad. 6 comments. Appia says, I voted yes on the poll. Maybe they shouldn't from the moral standpoint, but when the political jokes are against the current government, there is a reason to expect negative consequences. It was, should comedians be afraid to make political jokes in the U.S. now? Ramsey D. Jenkins says, 5 stars for this episode. I don't care about Tiger and Vanessa. Update on Jeffrey. Well, hold on, Ramsey. You just did this thing people do. That I think the lady doth protest too much. Okay? Y'all do this a lot. If you did not care, I don't think you would have told us you didn't care. We talked about so much shit in this episode. There were so many things to not care or care about. And you chose to tell us that you did not care about Tiger and Vanessa, which leads me and my deductive reasoning to assume not only did you care, I think you care a lot. And I think it bothered you. I think it bothered you that we talked about Tiger and that Vanessa Trump lady. I think it bothered you. For the record, didn't know her name was Vanessa. I had forgot it already.
Oh, Chad, I don't know that woman's name.
That's how little I care. is that if you would have, matter of fact, her name might not be Vanessa Trump. That might be what you put, and maybe we both wrong. But if her name Vanessa Trump, I just want you to know I have forgot already. So you care. You wrote this days later to be like, I don't care about that. You care. You wish we didn't talk about it. That's what happened. Update on Jeffrey Goldberg in the Atlantic. He published the war plans and the text. I saw that. They shouldn't have fucked with him, man. I don't know what. I hate this administration. It's because part of the reason I hate them is because they so stupid. You put the man in a situation where you tested his journalistic integrity, like he just making shit up, and he was like, "Oh, word."
Yeah. Who are you finna try? I bet it ain't me. Oh, bitch, it ain't me. Caps. Who are you finna?
Yeah, he was like, I got added into a text
Right.
that I knew, because the thing is, because I'm a journalist, I didn't initially say anything, but when all the shit y'all said actually came out to be true, I was like, oh, this is the real chain. So I'm going to say something after the fact, and then y'all call me a motherfucking lie. Bitch, I could have said something immediately.
Right.
And I did not.
I'm glad he put it out.
Yeah, because fuck them. Call me a goddamn lie.
Shoe Booty says, why do I have more stringent security and ethics training in my regular ass job than people who are in charge of running bombs and shit?
Right.
Obvi says, same here. EVE says, I think well, you know why? Because you're a woman and you do above and beyond and exceed expectations. You don't expect to be compensated for
Right?
it. Probably don't even go into your job and be like, I'm exceeding the security clearance of the White House at this point.
And they're going to give you a meats.
You going to give yourself a meats. They ain't going to have to give you shit. You getting meats because you want meats.
And then you ain't going to get in the group chat.
EVE says, I think if people love themselves as much as Tiger Woods love white women, the world would be a better place. You do got a type. I understand why Nikki Glaser would be afraid to make political jokes. People are crazy, and Dump has emboldened people to be violent because he signaled to them that they'll face little to no consequences. As scary as it sounds, I wouldn't be surprised if one of these comedians gets attacked. The world is bananas. I don't know. Like, would you guys respect our podcast if we just suddenly stopped talking about Trump from here on out? If I was like, I'm afraid. I think Trump is going to have people do stuff to people that are critical of his administration and make jokes about him and call his people that he appointed dumb and stupid. I think most of y'all would probably lose a lot of respect for us or feel like we were overreacting at this point. Now, you might think, well, that's because y'all guys don't have a big enough platform. But I think you'd probably feel that way about anybody that talks the way we talk, whether their platform's bigger or not, who just capitulates completely to this administration against the morality they claim to uphold. And what I think is very funny is that so many of these comedians spent years telling us about how everybody was anti-freedom of speech because they pushed back on their jokes. And they would equate us saying, I don't like your joke, that was fucked up, with lack of freedom of speech.
Right. That's not the same.
They say it was against my First Amendment. Well, now...
It's real First Amendment.
Now you're thinking about your First Amendment for real.
Yes.
Because when you say you won't make political jokes, you're saying the government's going to lock you up.
Right.
Not the woke liberal DEI mob is going to. No, you're talking about the United States government and all the power that it upholds going, I don't think you should be able to make this joke about the president. I'm going to put you in jail, kick you out the country, whatever.
This is First Amendment right here.
Now we talking about First Amendment.
Yes, sir.
Who really about that life?
Yes.
Anyway, Abia says, I'm somehow confused about Vanessa Trump and Tiger thing. She is the ex-daughter-in-law of Trump. And as far as I can see, not especially political or controversial. She is, well, that's because you ain't wiki her. She's very controversial in just like her dating history. Like I want to say the first page of her wiki is already like, this is who she was married to and who she was dating. It's crazy. During her teenage years, she dated local street gangster Valentin Rivera, a Latin Kings gang member. In 1998, she was linked to Leonardo DiCaprio. In 98 to 2001, she dated Saudi Prince Khalid bin Bandar bin Sultan Al Saud. The relationship ended in 2001 when he left the U.S. after his Saudi ambassador father was suspected of having indirect ties to individuals linked with the Al-Qaeda hijackers.
Damn.
On November 12, 2005, she married Donald Trump Jr. at Mar-a-Lago. He proposed to her with $100,000 ring that he had received as a gift from a jeweler in exchange for proposing to her in front of the paparazzi. So he got it for free. Ooh. And married and proposed just off of the free of it. They have 5 children together.
They have 5 kids.
And now she's dating Tiger Woods. So that's just because you don't know. We're not saying this just because her last name is Trump and she white. She a wild girl. She out here.
She out here living that life.
She is pretty and blonde. What is the scandal here? Tiger seems to be close to Trump anyway. Well, we just told you what the scandal is. The other part of this is that Tiger Woods is a coon. And I don't expect you to understand that because you're not from here and you probably don't get it. But he's a coon. So him dating exclusively white women and it not mattering how close in orbit he is to a racist Donald Trump president, it might not be a scandal or whatever. It's noteworthy to us. It's noteworthy to black people in America. Tiger Woods was uplifted as a hero during the age of representation.
He brought a lot of people
because he meant so much to black people.
Yes, he did.
And at every turn that he's had a chance to delineate himself from black people, he has taken it to be like, I'm actually not black, I'm Coblin Asian.
Yes.
To say to cozy up to Trump, who is a racist president running a racist administration. Yeah, so it means something to us, and it's okay you don't get it. Not everything is for everybody to get. All right, no comments on YouTube for this one. Oh wait, no, this is I'm looking at the wrong thing. Did I? Oh, no comments because I didn't put it up. Well, that's on me, guys. So look for comments on this one next week. The poll was, should comedians be afraid to make political jokes in the U.S. now? 33% yes, 66% no. So there you guys go. Man, can't believe I didn't put that one up. Did I? And I did create the file and everything.
You just didn't put it up. Oh.
All right. Well, it'll be up sometime tonight.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's check. I guess the voicemails.
A lot of things going on this week.
Yeah, Hornets, the concert.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff. I probably just forgot in the midst of all that.
Mm-hmm.
We got voicemails though. We're gonna get to those after this next commercial break. Let's get to the voicemails. First one's from Allegra.
Hi, too. It's Allegra. I am listening to 3067, The Era of the Bully. First of all, I haven't gotten to my voicemail. I haven't gotten to the part of the podcast where you guys are going over voicemails, but I am hoping that you named the episode after the phrase that I use, because I do use that, and I know I called it and said that. Anyway, that's not the point of this message. This message is, what in the hell is happening this episode? You had several people calling in with this anti-trans stuff, and it was weird. Gosh, I'm with you and Ron and Karen. Like, it's amazing. And also, I love the talk about the self-evaluation thing. It made me see it in a different way, because I too am a woman who didn't like to talk too much about what I do and don't do. I always hope that the boss will see me and recognize me, and there have been times where that's happened, and there's also been times where it has not. So I started to appreciate the self-evaluations, but you sent me right over the line, Rod, with your assessment with it. It makes sense. You know, like, when else are we going to say, hey, I did a good job? So anyway, what a weird episode about the trans stuff. People are just wilding out there. Love you guys.
You too. You know what else it is? I think they sense weakness right now. You just made me think about that. What they feel right now is Democrats took a L. It doesn't matter that it was by 1.something%. There's a feeling of Donald Trump and conservatives having a mandate, and they're just going to do whatever they want to do. And now everybody feels like they can twist the arm for leverage from Democrats and go, I don't like trans people. Drop them from your platforms. And then you'll win. That's what they're saying, because they think Democrats are scrambling. And some of these Democratic politicians are, and I'm talking about Democratic politicians scrambling. Mm-hmm. Some of these Democratic politicians are doing that. They're listening. They're like, now you're having people like Gavin Newsom bring on right-wing bigots and shit on their show, right? You having people go on these tours where it's like, I'm only talking about the economy. I won't talk about any of these other issues for people's social health and also their economic health is attached to it. But you're making me think something. Like, there's a feeling of the Democrats are scrambling. Let me get my pot shot in to get this shit off, because while these people writing in our show talking about trans issues, I'm seeing other places white people basically say the same thing about black issues. Yes, for example, Bernie Sanders did a rally and it was basically all white people, and I saw leftist accounts sharing it, and the tweet was, this is the real base of the party. Somewhere in like Iowa or some state where there's not, some city where there's no black people. Right. And I was like, ooh, that's your way of saying, let's leave these trans issues alone. You're saying, let's leave these black issues alone. The real base is these white people in the middle of America. That's who we should be concerned with. Everyone's going to try it right now. You got to stand strong. You got to hold firm. And personally, it's not my job to rebuild the Democratic Party or change it or make sure they win. My job is to make sure we do the best podcast we do. And our podcast is not one that's going to be like, well, I guess we got to drop all this trans shit. Some people don't understand. Get in line or don't.
Yeah, and also it's my job to make a mandate that you don't leave me behind. It's my job to say the fuck you is.
Yeah, but that's you talking about you. Right. I'm saying it's easy to get you to say that. Who wouldn't say that about themselves? Agreed. What they're hoping when they write into our show is that we will go, well, I'm not trans.
Okay, and just have no empathy and no compassion.
You went to I was using the analogy to compare the two, to say this is what I'm seeing white people do this with the Bernie shit, to be like, we don't need to be talking about all this black shit. I'm tired of all this woke DEI, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I see what you're doing. You think it's the time to scramble right now, and you're hoping everybody's gonna panic and go, you're right, let's drop the black shit, and let's drop all the shit about women, and let's drop all the shit about gay people, let's drop all the shit about trans people, let's drop everything about immigration. Okay, well, now you are just a Republican-like party. Yes, you actually are what people accuse you of if you do that. Don't do that, because I'm not getting in line with that. And most people aren't. You're going to have to find another way. I don't think that way will work. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think it's going to work. Couple more people call.
Hi, Karen. Hi, Rod. It's O'Neill in Chicago. I just want to leave a quick message that I was listening to episode 3067, the feedback show, the era of the bully, and when it got to the part of whoever that was that wrote in about the trans issues in the Democratic Party, I don't want to add anything to that. I just want to say I was listening to it passively in the background, and I immediately hit pause before you responded, Rod, put in my AirPod Pros, turned the volume all the way up because I knew exactly what was about to happen. And I just want to say thank you guys for always being defenders of the community, and you're right about everything. Okay, love y'all. Bye.
Thank you. That is hilarious, though, that you was like, because I'm going to be honest, I didn't know I was going to get mad. I was trying to be cool. I was trying to be like, okay,
but they kept pushing, they kept going, and you're like, God damn, come on now.
What is wrong with these people?
Right.
I remember, and it happens every once in a while. We get somebody with a bug up their ass about something. You know, we got back in the day, we used to get we used to get a religious person who kept writing in, and they clearly had issues with LGBTQ people, but they would write in and be on some like, if that's their lifestyle choice and but it was always kind of negative toward, and it's like, I can handle that once or twice. You know, I have enough privilege in my own life to be able to go, okay, maybe you just don't understand, maybe I can give you benefit of doubt. I I don't know, nigga. It's been a month.
Yep.
It's not gonna happen for you.
You consistently writing in.
Stop derailing our shit.
That's the whole point. Stop derailing the show.
There's so many places you can go and not like trans people away from us.
Yes, sir.
All right, we got another voicemail. This person called twice. I don't have their contact name in it, so they're new.
Yo, Rod and Karen. This is Christoph. I sent you an email with a voice memo. It's not spam. I just want you to know that it's not spam.
Oh, I already deleted it.
I promise you, it's not spam. Now it's weird that I'm saying it. Okay, forget that part. Basically, what was in that voice memo if you weren't able to download it? It's like an encore, I guess. I am watching Death Note for the first time. This nigga, Light Yagami. Oh, this nigga is a wild boy. Like you. This nigga. Oh. And then this other Negro, Nia. But like, when it's not in the room and Kira call and he's like Yakami is that guy. You guys have a good day.
He called back. I don't know what the second one is about, but he called back.
Okay.
Right, Aaron, I think all you guys, if I can give you an update on Death Note here. So I finished 37 episode on Netflix. And all I got to say, Ron and Karen, all I got to say, that boy Ryuk is a bitch ass nigga. Ryuk is a bitch ass nigga. That's all I'm gonna say. Ryuk, you a bitch ass nigga. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm gonna say.
I feel like we've dealt with our trauma around Death Note years ago.
Yeah, we
So
watched
maybe
it
it's
decades ago. Yeah.
easier for us to rationalize. But Death Note was one of my favorite anime of all time.
Yes, sir.
Just straight up. And yeah, Light Yagami is one of the greatest characters of all time. As fucked up and evil as Light could be. But it's such a power fantasy, and I love the strategy of it all, and like the back and forth with him, and then when L comes into the picture, and all of that stuff. We've gone to see the movies, the live action Japanese movies in theaters here in America.
They be dressed up in costumes and stuff. Yeah. We've been
like we're big fans of Death Note, so I'm glad you enjoyed it. But yeah, he was that guy. He was him, as the kids say. But he was also incredibly scary. And Ryuk, we already know he was never, not from day one was he a friend or ally to Light. Like, it didn't matter to Ryuk at all. Like, he was trolling that man the first time he showed up. So I don't think, like, Ryuk liked when shit got tight and Light was looking like he was about to get caught. So, you know, I feel like he was who he said he was. I can't even call him a bitch ass nigga. I feel like he was, from day one, he showed up and was a op. And he didn't care. It wasn't shit you could do about it. All right, let's get to the last segment, which is emails. Let me pull up difference. Let's see. How about this? Got emails here. Monty says, TV show recap recommendation. Hello guys, my wife and I found your podcast last year on a road trip to Kansas. Thank you. I hope we got you through that. You were reviewing House of Dragons. It was hilarious and made the miles fly by. Since then, we've stuck around. I mentioned to my wife that you guys should do a similar review of the show From. It's 3 seasons in and the writing has been great at times. The show might be up your alley and I'm sure your recaps will be entertaining. Thank you for giving me a moment of your time and keep up the good work. Monty from Hobart. Thank you, Monty. I don't know. Maybe I like once again. This shit is a lot of work.
Yeah, we're very selective.
So I don't think I even have MGM Plus. But anyway, my point being, the TV show thing is so much work for me when I do it that I
take it very
selectively
seriously.
do it, and I really don't mind it being like a show or two every couple of years. Like
Right.
like when the Game of Thrones is like we on a break. I know a lot of y'all be like, oh no. I'll be like, woo, thank God. It's like 5 hours of my time back every week or whatever, you know. But I feel y'all. I don't know that we were. And the other thing is, when the show is good, sometimes I just want to watch it for the fun.
Yeah, for
And
just for the.
I don't want it
enjoyment
to be
of
work at all. And we
Right.
may bring it up on the show or not. But like right now, I'm finishing Stranger Things. I'm like 8 minutes from the finale of season 4, and I've enjoyed watching it. Not having to do any recaps, not really tweeting too much about it, not talking about it in any other podcast. I've just enjoyed watching it and just being able to watch it the way the rest of y'all watch stuff. So sometimes it just be like that, especially for these really good shows. From is on my list of shows though, because I've only heard good things about it. So I will check it out eventually. But I doubt it'll be a showy recap. No offense. Mary says, good afternoon, Rod and Karen. I think I'm a week behind, but I had to share that I just listened to this episode, and I think it's one of your best. Here's why. One, Karen's DMV story is for episode Bigger Bubble. I had to listen several times to hear that belly laugh she gave when describing her experience, from putting her eyes in the nose hole and not being able to see to trying to use nose wipes for her hands. I was doubled over. Please use this for your Instagram clips. I'm a mess. A whole ass mess is your next merch. 2, the description of the post office, the way you recreated a story in such detail, I could see everything that was happening. You have a gift for reading people. Thank you. 3, the political discussion around the podcast was superbly astute. You articulated perfectly the problem with liberal and progressive pundits and the Democratic leadership, and really helped me see this in a way I hadn't thought of. Gavin Newsom is my governor, and when I tell you I was infuriated when he had Charlie Kirk on his podcast and was fanboying over him, when you pointed out his interview with Steve Bannon was Newsom the podcaster, not the politician, it was like a light bulb went off. Thank you and Karen for being a light and revelation in what often feels like the upside down in this media world. Appreciate you both tremendously. Time for me to update my 5-star review, Mary. Thank you, Mary.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad y'all enjoyed my story, because like I said, that's the way y'all are in, like people say, inside of my internal world, inside of my internal brain and shit, and I be all over the place. I know I ain't got it all together. I know I ain't got all the answers, and child, the way life is, you better laugh at shit.
John says, good morning, Rod and Karen. Rod is a musician and music lover, always looking to broaden my knowledge, refine my taste, and diversify the artists I listen to. I am intrigued by this playlist you mentioned earlier this week. Rather than ask you to engage in the tedious task of listing all the songs, if you could just tell me the title of the gangbang video or even the name of the actress, that would be greatly appreciated. I assure you this request is only about musical appreciation and nothing all to do with the titillation or any other purient interest, LOL. In other words, name
Sauce.
Yeah, you want that sauce. I said the name on the show. I wasn't joking. It is Gangbang Gloria. I don't know which of her videos it is. It was a lot of gang. She did a lot of gangbangs, guys. It's like I lost count. I want to say the gangbangs got to like take 20 before I lost count. I was just like, this is. I'm just a fan of her work, but mostly I'm a fan of the playlist, okay? Them parties was jamming.
The playlist.
I would have been at that orgy not having sex. I would have just been in the corner like, before I let go.
Dance in the background.
Yeah. But
hey, Rod, get your arm at the view.
It was just so many songs I had like not heard in a long time. Like I still like Friday night, just got paid.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, man, this shit is jamming. Let me put my dick down.
Yeah, you couldn't tell nobody back in the day when they just got paid, particularly if you were clubbing around that time. That was your jam.
Yeah, it was a lot of stuff like that on there. I love the RG3 show idea. I look forward to the segment asking the audience to stop politicizing Obama and injecting race into the Kendrick Drake feud. Cheers, John. Yeah, I'm surprised. He should just make that his podcast. His de-racifying of America. Just everything is just nothing to see here. Just him bringing up topics and being like, I don't even know why we're talking about this. Like,
Why is we mad?
why is this even relevant? Let's move on to the next one. Each episode could be 5 minutes long. They cover 10 topics, and this is just him being like, I don't know, seem okay to me. Donald Trump taking down Jackie Robinson page on social media. On the website for the White House. I don't know. I guess. All right. So what's up next? Oh, looks like slavery's back. Hey, listen. I'm not saying I agree with slavery, but I don't think it has anything to do with race. All right. What's the next topic? Oh, colored only water fountain. Listen. A lot of times, different colors be running. You don't have a problem when it's time. You don't have a problem when it's time to do laundry. You don't put your colors and your whites in the same thing, so I don't see why this is a problem.
I don't.
All right.
Separate them bitches.
Let's go to our sponsor. Brought to you by Black Rifle Coffee.
Separate but equal matters when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm. All right, y'all. That's it. Thanks for listening. We'll be back throughout the week. Until next time, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. Bye, everybody. Have a good rest of your night. Peace.